Well, good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. Thanks for coming out. It's a busy week, and coming back into the new year. Hope Santa Claus found everybody, and everyone had a good Christmas celebration. I sure appreciate you being here tonight. We'd like to give a big round of applause for Spanish Fork City, allowing this to happen in this beautiful new facility. We have Seth Perrins with us, the city manager. We have Councilwoman Stacy Beck with us here. We have Councilman Kevin Euler with us here of Spanish Fork. We have Shauna Warnick from the Nebo School District. We have Landon Took, the brand new city councilman of Spanish Fork as well. We really should just introduce ourselves really quickly as well if we maybe have time, but just thank you for everyone being involved here. And on behalf of all of us, Seth, just as a little thank you gift, welcome, come right up on here. Glad you're here tonight. Just as a little thank you gift on behalf of us, thank you for hosting us here and making all of this possible for us. And for those I haven't had a chance to meet and visit with, my name is Stephen Whyte, and I had the opportunity to represent House District 63 in the state legislature. So that's Spanish Fork, about Highway 6, everything north, the mouth of the canyon around the golf course, and then Mapleton, and then about half of Springville as well. And I feel we just have the best communities here in the whole state, and it's because of everybody's involvement. So thanks for being here. The legislature is kind of a part-time job. It's mostly primarily service. And my day job, I work at Rocky Mountain University of Health Professions. That's that university in South Provo where Novell's campus used to be, kind of in that tower there. It's a graduate university, so we just offer master's and doctorate degrees in health fields. So that's where I go to work every day, but then privileged to be able to serve and to be able to try to help our communities up in the state legislature. Now, something that you may have seen, and we've talked before, I love John Wayne, and he said something that I think we may all kind of feel about politicians or maybe elected officials or maybe about government, that there's too much talking and not enough listening. And so that's really the purpose of tonight. I'm going to share with you some things that will be popping up potentially in the legislature and spend the majority of tonight just listening to you and to be able to take notes. And I've asked Roxanne to be able to help. This is my wife, Roxanne, and she's the one that makes all of this possible, of running our house and our 5 kids and life and making it possible to do all of this. So I would not be able to do this without Roxanne, so I greatly appreciate her and all of her help and support. I view a representative as just kind of the name of the title, representative. It's the purpose is to be your voice, your champion, your representative up in the legislature. And it's an honor and privilege to be able to do that. The legislature, the session is going to start here in about a week and a half. It will run January 16th through March 1st. It's 45 days, Monday through Friday. It's up at the Capitol every day. And when the session is in session, you do get paid, but as we've calculated the fees a little bit, or what you get paid, it's about $15 an hour. And I have 3 kids in college right now, one at BYU and UVU and Utah Tech, and they're working part-time to help with college, and they kind of joke with me that they make more in their part-time student job than I do in the legislature. So we kind of laugh and chuckle about that, but that's okay because it's about public service, and I think that's the way it should be. I like to invite all of you to come up to the Capitol at any time of the year and any time during the legislative session. This is my cell phone, and so you can text it at any time. If you want to come up and come and sit in a committee meeting, come and we'll get a tour or talk about particular issues or bills that are going through, please text me and just come on up. Advance notice a little bit is a little bit helpful, but at the same time, if you're up there and it's unexpected and you see something happening, text me and I'll do everything I can to get out of what I'm doing to be able to come and visit with you. And then also the invitation is throughout the entire year. Anytime, if you're wanting to go up with families or a youth group or a community group or an organization you're with, you're totally welcome to do that as well. And I love to be able to meet you up there. Now, before we get into some of the issues, I'd like to share just a couple of helpful resources. There's a lot of good information on a legislative website called le.utah.gov. One of the aspects is the calendar. You just click up at the calendar and you can choose the day or the week. They're starting to populate this already right now. So the first day of the session, we'll be able to see what the schedule is. More and more is being put on there every day for the session, so you can see exactly what's happening in every committee, in every meeting, in every floor and Senate group as well. What's also nice, you can just click that, it will pop it up, and you can virtually watch what's happening in that meeting. And if you want to participate in a committee meeting for public hearing, you can just click, get in the line of presenters, and the committee chair will call on you, and you could be in your car, you could be at home, you could be at work, you could be anywhere you want, and you can share your input, your recommendations, and testify before the committee on any bill wherever you're at. So that's one of the great benefits from the pandemic, is being able to have those type of options now available to us. Another great piece of the legislative website are committees. You might be interested in what a specific committee, let's say public education, is doing, or maybe business and labor is doing. All of the committees are listed, and you can search them and sort them by different topics as well. And you can click on the committee and see the agendas. You can hear recordings. It's all recorded. It's accessible for historical reasons as well. This session, I've been asked to serve on a variety of committees. One is the Business and Labor Committee. There are some that say that that's maybe, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I will, we're amongst friends here, one of the most influential committees, right next under Appropriations Committee. And I have the opportunity to be the vice chair of that, and that's a great committee because it has a big impact right here in our community with business. Also, I serve on Law Enforcement, Criminal Justice, Higher Ed Appropriations, the Commission on Housing Affordability. That has one representative and one senator, so I represent the House of Representatives on that. And then the Housing and Transit Reinvestment Zone Committee as the House representative on that committee. So a variety of different areas, and I like these a lot because there's so much involvement within our communities right now in these different topics. Another helpful resource, you might hear about some bills that are popping up. You might hear like HB 111 or SB 56. Those are just abbreviations. If it's HB, it stands for a House bill, or a SB for a Senate bill. And they're all listed on the website. You can just go click on the number. If you hear something in the news, SB 101, you click on SB 101 and the bill will pop up. You can see where it is in the entire process, who's voting for it, hear the discussion and the debate upon it. So it's an easy way to track bill by bill throughout the session. And another helpful tool on the legislative website, at the very top you click Budget, and a couple of options will pull up. You can click the budget icon, and it is rather impressive of what they've created. It will show every tax dollar that comes into the state of Utah and how that dollar is exactly spent. So you can track things penny by penny, by topic, or by bill, or by outcomes. And so it's a great way to be able to, for accountability and transparency. So that's a great resource on budgets. Another one I really like is the economy section. There's a lot of what's called stress testing with the state budgets. If this situation happened, what impact would that happen on the state budgets? So they run the stress tests, and all of that data about the economy and the impact on the state is found in that section. So that's another helpful resource that's available to all of us. Now, speaking about budgets, there's really three primary responsibilities for the legislature. One is to create laws, so it's policy. The second is budget, of how the state budgets are used. And the third is oversight, so oversight of government agencies to help them be efficient and accountable and to use taxpayer dollars in the very best way. So those are the three primary areas. In that second area of budget, related to the economy, there are a lot of great things happening in the state of Utah right now with national rankings. Lowest unemployment rate, greatest economic growth, greatest long-term consistent growth year over year. In fact, one of them says for the last 16 years, some of the very best cities. And so these accolades and these recognitions are showing that there's really some good things happening in Utah, which is a model and example to the rest of the country. So it really has a growing, healthy economy in the state. However, there's also some big challenges. A recent headline was Utah's revenue growth is slowing. and we need to approach things very cautiously this upcoming year. Some of those reasons we're seeing right now, that big stimulus from the federal government of about $2.1 billion during the pandemic, which also caused all of the inflation that we're seeing, that is starting to simmer down, and as a result, we're kind of coming back into more reality with the economy. Also, that's having some ripple effects that the income and sales tax collections are now starting to go down as well. There's the question about interest rates. The Federal Reserve in D.C. has indicated that there might be 3 interest rate cuts this upcoming year, but what those are and what levels, there's still some uncertainty, and it's causing some consumer uncertainty. So there's some things that has to be very carefully analyzed, and it's looking right now that there's not going to be very much excess budget in the state this upcoming year financially. So the approach to budgeting is kind of a try to look at things strategically, short-term and both long-term. The strategy is to keep the taxes as low as possible. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do another tax cut this year. I think we'll be able to do that even with the economy where it is, to be able to get more money back into everybody's own wallets. Also planning for the future of what we do this year for budgets. We also need to think what will be the long-term effects of that in 3, 5, 7 years down the road. If there was by chance a little bit of excess money, how do you spend that as a state? The concern is if we spend it too much, too fast, that could cause hyperinflation in the state, which we want to avoid. So if there by chance is a little bit of excess money, some strategic thoughts and different perspectives say we should spread that out over time. That's one option. Or to invest in infrastructure over time as well. Another is to put that in the rainy savings account in case there's a situation in the future we'd have to dip into. Or the other one is just give it back to the taxpayers as well. So there's a variety of options depending upon what those revenue projections are. When the session starts on January 16th, we don't get the revenue actual numbers until about the middle of February. And that's where the decisions are really going to start taking place about mid-February. Now, with all these different issues that are coming, I love to be able to get your input on these tonight, and we'll just open it up, and I'll take notes and listen to you. To help me kind of get my mind around all these different topics, I've kind of grouped them into 4 big areas: people, resources, accountable government, and the future. And then under these, to help me kind of get my mind around it as well, in the area of people, watching out for taxpayers. The second one is to be able to, well, first and foremost is to protect our families, taxpayers. There was a big research study that came out that was shared in an interim committee about 2 months ago about the health and wellness and the mental health of Utah. There's really some concerning trends that way in the state. That will be an area of behavioral mental health that will be looked at this session as well. Looking out for students and teachers in the classroom to help them to succeed. In the area of resources, there's water. We're seeing the news reports about the mountains right now and the snow, and that's a little concerning. So water will be another big issue. Another will be energy, land, protecting our natural resources. Kind of in the area of government, accountability. I just put fighting for Utah, essentially meaning pushing back against the federal government, encroachment in areas in the state that I feel like they're a little concerning, a little bit troublesome. Also working ways to be able to increase the efficiency of the government, the reallocation of funding, making things more efficient, and also working on public safety. And then in the area of future, meaning now and into the future, housing will be another big topic for the year. Transportation as our population increases, as well as technology, and especially in the area of artificial intelligence. There's a lot of interest and questions around that, as that is really starting to emerge right now as well. So those are some of the big, broad categories that I've kind of tried to organize in my mind. Here are a sampling of just some of the topics that could emerge, and I think they will emerge in the upcoming session. Here's just 40 different examples. Now, just before Christmas, there were 1,320 bills that were filed. That is the highest number of bills in the history of Utah. And so those are all on different topics. They'll start be coming out. Some of them are public right now. More as they're getting drafted will be coming out. So there's going to be a lot of movement with a lot of bills within 45 days, and that's why I need your help. So as all these issues come before me, I've been asked the question, Stephen, how do you make the decision of how to vote? You either vote yes or you vote no. There's no maybe or I don't know. So it's a yes or a no vote on every vote. Here's the process that I go through for every vote. First and foremost, research that particular topic in that bill to learn as much as I possibly can. The second, I'll have a legislative intern. It'll be one of our students from one of our universities in the state. I'll find out who that is next week. I'll use the intern to be able to help do additional research and background research to be able to help me understand the issue. The third step, and really the most important step, is what do you want me to do, and how can I represent your view and your voice on that particular issue? That's the real need for tonight. After finding out what you're wanting to have happen on it, then I look at the committee hearings. So the committee hearings are fabulous because that's where every bill gets a public hearing. People can provide public input. There's debates, there's Q&A, the committee votes. You'll look to see all of the discussions within the committee. The next step is I look at organizational input. So for example, if there was an issue about criminal justice, I think, okay, what does the Police Chief Association say about this? Or if it's about education, what does the PTA say about this? Or if there's an issue about business, what does the Chambers of Commerce saying about this? So look at those organizational input. And then I'll also talk with lobbyists, but talk with lobbyists on both sides of the issues. They're getting paid to present a certain view on a particular area. They do a lot of research, but I talk with those that say, yes, you should vote for it. And then I talk to the lobbyist who is against it, saying vote against it. Being able to look at that information and see things from both perspectives, that also helps me make sure no one's trying to pull the wool over my eyes. And then also talk with legislators. We all have full-time jobs, so if there is an issue about engineering, we have a legislator who's been an engineer for 30 years to be able to talk with him or with her about their experience on that issue. And then there's also the floor discussion and the debate takes place as well. So I'll go through those 8 steps before every vote to try to make the very most informed decision that will very best benefit our local community and our local area. I have a survey. I can also, if you get my newsletter, it was in the newsletter for December. That newsletter has, that survey has a lot of different questions, a lot of different topics. If you haven't received my newsletter or would like to send me that survey, I'll be happy to send it to you as well. Here's a little bit of my contact information. The best way to reach me through legislative session is through text. That's legislative phone right here. Also email me, and if you email me, if I could ask for your help. I'm already starting to get several hundred emails per day, and as I go through those, I want to make sure I don't miss anyone that's right here from our house district. In the subject line of your email, could you put Spanish Fork constituent or Springville constituent, and in the email, put your name, phone, and address as well. That will help me, so I'll be able to flag it and make sure I don't miss any emails. If I post updates on Facebook, on social, that QR code goes to my Facebook page if you're interested in getting information that way. During the legislative session, I'll send out at the end of every week a newsletter, giving a recap of what's happened in the week. I'll include every bill that I voted on and how I voted on it, and to be able to talk about what's coming up in the upcoming week. So if you'd like to get a newsletter, and by chance you're not, you can just text me your email address, the name, or send it to my email, and I'll add you to it, and I promise I won't spam you as well. And then during the rest of the year, I send out a newsletter giving a recap of what happened in the month at the end of every month as well. And so feel free to text me as things are happening. If you're up on the hill or you're seeing things happen, please text me or send me an email, and I'll do my very best to respond as quickly as I possibly can. And if it's a little delayed response, know that I've got it, I've looked at it, and take that all into consideration as the discussions and the debates and the voting are taking place. Now, at the end of the legislative session, I'll come right back in here. Spanish Fork City has graciously said you can come back to this beautiful facility again. I'll come back and do 3 different town halls to report back to you of what happened in the session, be accountable to you, explain what took place, answer any questions as well. And so we'll be back in Spanish Fork on March 13th in the evening right here. So put that on your calendar, and I'll bring treats next time too. We'll celebrate the session being finished, and I think it will be a good session as well. thank you for your involvement. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the outreach that you're doing. Our communities are so good because of our involvement of all of you. This is one big team effort. Roxanne and I were able to do something really cool this last couple of months and make some new friends in Spanish Fork University 101. If you haven't heard about this, I'd recommend reaching out to the city. It's a class about how Spanish Fork City runs. It's Wednesday nights for a couple of hours for 10 weeks, and you learn all different aspects of the city. Hands-on experiences, meeting all of the employees, and man, is Spanish Fork City run. We were just so impressed and learned so much. And so it's because of community involvement and service involvement that is such a great place to be here. So thank you for the opportunity I have to be able to serve and represent you. And I'll look forward to seeing you and listening to you during the session and being back when it all finishes up. So thanks for being here, everybody, and hope you have a good evening. Thank you.